I wanted to touch on the new Tort that was created by the Supreme Court in terms of coercive control, as well as the new bill that is currently in negotiations that just got voted on in the House of Commons. Again, regarding the criminalization of several things, turning femicide into a first degree, but also turning coercive control into a criminal offense. And I wanted to talk about this because I've been ruminating on this for a while. I believe it was CBC that had published a report, and I watched it. And at the end, there was a man who was saying, they don't really understand why this is being discussed in the Supreme Court, because there are already other civil remedies. And the same thing, there are other criminal remedies is an often commonly used argument that we hear. That person's not wrong. Those civil remedies and those criminal codes do exist. However, apparently being married to someone or being in a domestic relationship with someone gives people a carte blanche to do whatever they want to the victim and it be considered a civil issue. And the onus has to be on the victim, even in civil court, to prove that it's beyond the reasonable doubt, even if the standard for civil court is more likely than not. And then again, I've talked about this before in criminal cases where it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And yet here we are, with a lot of people being set free, even when they admit to doing things. And admitting and justifying, unfortunately, isn't a thing unless if it's in self-defense. And the self-defense has to be very clearly, explicitly, full context disclosure. But long story short, for example, extortion is a criminal offense. Threatening someone that if they try to leave you, you're going to do something harmful to them or to the children is criminal extortion. How many perpetrators of violence, how many coercive controllers, how many criminals who should be behind bars have done this, kept people in a hostage situation, and then followed up on said criminal extortion, and no consequence was done at all. How many AFABs, women femmes, have flooded our prison system because they either took the fall for a man or because they defended themselves or reacted or responded, which is defense, to the assault or attack of a man or an abuser. And I'm sorry that my content is gendered, but I'm not sorry at the same time, because the data is there. The data is there. Yes, there are male victims. They are very few and far between. And the risk of homicide to men, like them being the victims of a homicide by their partner, is virtually non-existent unless in self-defense or reaction. Whereas femicide and filicide are two very serious results that occur when we ignore intimate partner violence. Multiple provinces in Canada have also implemented new VP units, which is vulnerable people's units, to their police departments. Has that changed anything? Not really. We have allegedly retrained and re-educated judges. Has that helped? No, it has not. We use misogyny on the stand as a common practice. We use racial discrimination on the stand as common practice. We use victim blaming on the stand as common practice to discredit victims of these crimes. And so to the man, the cis man, who said that there are already remedies and a new torque isn't necessary. Sir, you're not wrong. What are you going to do about them actually following through and doing their job? It always seems to me like we are just looking for an excuse to get away with as much as we can, take no accountability, while dehumanizing victims, distorting the reality, and then crying wolf. Because that's what all perpetrators do, is they cry wolf, and they are all defended by the system. Anyway, do you feel the discomfort yet?